What's up, YouTube? Murphy Firearms Training here. I've got a new toy. This is called the Spin Doctor, and it's just a little conical aluminum piece. And I want to show you what it's for. So these hulls have been star crimped, and so you can see. I'll bring this up here. The crimp didn't open up really great. This is a very low pressure round, and if you're going to re-crimp this, getting your wad and stuff in here is hard. But your press has wad guides and it'll get through there and you can re-crimp this. But if I wanted to roll crimp this, it would be impossible because this star is in place and I wouldn't be able to get the roll crimper started. And so I need to kind of round this out if I wanted to roll crimp this. Vice versa, this shell, and you can look at it from the side and see where the roll crimp stopped. So it stopped here. This shell was roll crimped. Okay, this shell was roll crimped. And you see it's just kind of this just folded mess here. And I wanted to star crimp this one. The same is true. This is not even enough for me to star crimp it. Or, like I said, if you just really wanted to make reloading easier. Now, I do want to show you a couple. So this is a higher pressure. This was star crimped. Okay, this was a 6-point crimp. And you see it's pretty much round. There's one little divot there, but pretty much this is round. And I could 6-point star, 8-point star, or roll crimp this without doing any work. So this is good. A higher pressure load tends to open up like that. Your lower pressure loads tend to open up like that. And so if I took, and I've got 2 or 3 of these, if I took these guys here and I wanted to redo these, reload them with a 6-point star crimp, as long as I line them up in the press right, they'll work. Okay, no big deal. But if I wanted to roll crimp these, they would not work. Okay, vice versa. I've got a few here. These were roll crimped. And if I wanted to go back and roll crimp these, I might actually have trouble getting them started because they didn't open round. But I definitely could not star crimp these. And I probably would struggle, especially this one because it's got a couple of real points on it. Would really struggle to roll crimp this. And so this shell can't be used until I fix that. And then I've got some shells, like I said, I'll show you a couple. This is one that opened up really cleanly. This is a roll crimp that opened up pretty cleanly. This is a star crimp that opened up pretty cleanly. And I could probably reuse those without doing any work to recondition them. So, on to what this tool is for. And you see I've got my hull vise here. If you've seen my roll crimp video, you've seen my hull vise. Okay? And just like the roll crimper, we're going to take a lighter and we're going to preheat this bad boy. So I'll just literally put the lighter on it and turn the drill on. And what I'm trying to do is just get this thing what I call very warm to the touch. Not so hot you can't touch it, but hot enough that you can't hold your fingers on it for long. Okay, so I want this pretty warm. Okay, so I can hold that, so it probably could do to be a little warmer. Okay, but you want it warm. Warmer is better. If it's cold, you can mess up a couple of hulls. And you see I just kind of run the drill really slow and get this thing kind of hot. Okay, so get it, that's pretty warm. I can't hang on to that for too long, okay? So I'm going to take one of these guys that's been star crimped, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this kind of sideways so the camera can see, which defeats the purpose of my hull vise, but whatever. Here we go. Put it on forward. Okay, and that would be... So just as a comparison, you can see, still got the star crimp. So if I wanted to re-star crimp this would be pretty easy to do. Just line it up, and I've got a video showing you how to do that to reload previously crimped hulls. The wad will go in easier. It's way easier to load, but it is round enough that I could roll crimp it. And if it's not quite right, you go back and you run it some more. And the faster you run this, the hotter it gets. And it's all friction. And so that now is round enough that I could roll crimp or star crimp that. It's round enough. There's still a couple of low spots here that might give me trouble. But you can use it on a star crimp to open that up to make it easier to load and also to roll crimp it. I'll do another one just to show you. Hold that a little tighter. Okay, and how hard to press and how long to work it really depends on. So this is opened up enough that it'd be very easy to reload. Probably not quite round enough that I could roll crimp it. So if I wanted to roll crimp this, I would go at it again. Okay, so I'd go at it some more. Okay, and that probably would work with a roll crimper now. And all it's doing is opening those up for me. Now, let's go to one that's been roll crimped. So I showed you this one, it's been roll crimped. It would be very difficult to star crimp this or roll crimp this. So let's use our Spin Doctor on it. Here goes. Okay, now nice and round. Okay, and this is ideal for fixing, and it is hot now. You can't touch it and hold your finger to it or it'll burn you. And that's how hot it gets when you're working it. It's ideal for when you've roll crimped something and it doesn't shape right when it opens up to re-roll crimp it. Okay, so I could re-roll crimp this or I could star crimp this now. So here's another roll crimped shell and I'll show you how it works. Here goes. Okay, not quite. What you're trying to do is get this hot enough that the plastic kind of sets in this circular shape. And so now I could re-roll crimp this or I could star crimp this. And so again, it's called the Spin Doctor. I got this from Ballistic Products Incorporated. I bought it with my own money. They didn't pay me a dime. Wish they would. But it's a great little product if you roll crimp and star crimp. And you roll crimp a load that's a lower pressure load. And now it's kind of jacked up and you really can't roll crimp it again. And you can't star crimp it. And you don't know what to do with it. So this lets you reuse these hulls. Okay, so, and you get this back to round. Your wads will go in easier. Your roll crimper will start easier. You could star crimp this, like I said. And that's it. That's what this little tool does. And you'll see it'll start to get really shiny in the area where you're working. It comes with kind of a rough machine surface, very hot. And it works great when it's hot. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back to a star crimped one now that it's really hot and see what it does. Okay, show you guys. Okay, and you see it didn't quite take the star out of this one. So I'll show you, it didn't quite take the star out of this one. And if I was going to re-star crimp this, that's fine. That just opens it up so the wad goes in really easy. If I wanted to roll crimp this, I would run it for another minute and try to get some of those valleys out. I'll show you that. Okay, and you get this thing hot enough and eventually it will, and sometimes even when you take it out, like I'll actually take it out and I'll take my finger and I'll just come in here and kind of play with this because it's very malleable. And so there you go. So I could roll crimp that or I could star crimp that. It's round enough that it would take a roll crimper or I could re-star crimp it. And so it's a neat little tool. Like I said, and I'll just show you, I mean, these are loads that literally, this is how they came out of the shotgun. This was a roll crimp, and it came out round enough that I could re-roll crimp it without any work. These were star crimps, and they came out round enough that I could star crimp or roll crimp them with no work. But then, like I said, you get some that come out of the shotgun, and it was a lower pressure load. And I shoot a lot of lower pressure loads when I shoot clays because they don't kick as hard, and I'm just trying to bust a clay disc. And then I shoot some higher pressure loads for hunting. I went dove hunting this past weekend and was shooting a 1 1/4 ounce number 6 load that, well, you really know you're shooting something when you touch it off. And I carry a pocket full of those out into the dove field or, you know, out for squirrel hunting and things like that. but I don't feel like I need something that kicks quite that hard to bust a clay disc. So, and those tend to leave these holes, like I said, not really opened up fully. And so this reopens them for me to make it easier to get the wads in. But also if I wanted to go from a star crimp to a roll crimp, or if I have a roll crimp that didn't open up well and want to recrimp that, reuse that hole. So I hope that answers any questions. It's a neat little product. If you have access to a lathe, you could make your own. It's just a conical shaped piece of aluminum. I think it's aluminum. It might be stainless, but I'm pretty sure it's aluminum. And it gets hot real quick. It cools off pretty quick too. So you want to have these holes lined up and just go one at a time. The hole vise also, as you can see from Ballistic Products here, I'll show you their cool logo here if you want to see their, I guess that's upside down, so let me show it right side up, right? But that's where this came from. It's where this came from. And like I said, I bought them with my own money. They're great little tools for reloading shotguns. For this guy, you just put your shell in, your hull in, and you just press on the thumb lever and hold it while you're doing that so it doesn't spin on you. You could hold them with your other hand. You could just hold it, right, and do that. Hand gets kind of tired, and it does start to get warm, but you can do that. It's a neat little addition to your workbench. Some folks bolt them down. I don't have mine bolted down. I carry it wherever I need to go. So anyway, hope that helps you. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe. Appreciate all the support. And if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Thanks, guys.